He's the SEC Commissioner, Greg Sankey, back on the program. Home stretch there, Greg. Who would have thought all those times we were talking over the summer? Now you can come clean. Full disclosure. How nervous were you that you were going to get in a full season?
When we were speaking back in the summer, do our best, but no, there was never a guarantee, Dan. And so I've talked about hold your breath moments, which is COVID testing. I mean, every week has been a challenge. It has been wearying, but we're close. We're not quite there. We're close, though. And testing results today are negative, which is positive for playing this weekend.
You get updates every week on every school?
Three times a week. So we have a conference managed testing program through a third party. In football, it's Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. And those results will trail either that evening or the next morning. So I started the season, it's like Friday was my hold your breath moment as you waited to see if people get on the plane, because we wanted to test before people traveled to avoid some of the controversies we've seen in other circumstances. And then as, we played 3 weeks uninterrupted, which may be the greatest accomplishment this season. We had 7 games for 3 straight weeks, and then just got into this cycle of disruption. And all of a sudden, my hold your breath moment on Friday was Monday morning when we were waiting for testing results, because we had some disruption occur early in the week, and again on Wednesday, and then on Friday. So it's been a constant cycle of I don't know if it's worry, concern, attention, focus on will we be able to play games.
What was your reaction to the latest college football playoff rankings?
Well, obviously I have an SEC perspective, and I think we set ourselves up with a 10-game schedule that has been recognized over time as incredibly rigorous, even when it's 8. And even with records that may not be what people anticipated, it is still difficult to win games in the Southeastern Conference. And I think the committee recognizes the quality of football here. So, for the top 8, certainly encouraging, but there's still football to be played.
What changes would you make to the process?
The selection process?
Yeah.
Well, let's just remember 2020 is an odd year. I would love to have played non-conference games in football, but we needed to move those early so we could then play a conference schedule. That wasn't the mindset that was shared. So the fact we had to play conference only in many circumstances, in fact, in most, is one that was out of my control. I think the first change is we just make sure we have quality non-conference competition in football, because that gives you this scale. Are there other metrics that could be used? I don't know that I go there. So now what I watch is the reaction from yesterday is, well, the BCS was better. It didn't have these humans making decisions. When we had the BCS, it's like, these polls are nonsense. We need humans in the room making decisions.
But what about expanding to 8?
I don't think 8 solves anything from my perspective. We're going to be arguing about 9. We have an agreement to start with 4 in a playoff. That's what happened in 2014, a set of objectives. We can't go too long. My coaches have told me, in fact, coaches in other conferences that played in the championship game have told me, when you got to the end of that, your team was done. There's a physical toll that's taken. So the give and take is bigger than just go to 8. And 8 has implications. My friend Jim Delaney one time said, and I think it's okay to share this because I think he's spot on. When we only had 2 teams selected for a national championship and you weren't in it, the impact on your brand or the esprit de corps of your conference wasn't that large. When it went to 4 and you're left out, that's a bigger deal. Okay. And I've certainly felt that pressure. You go to 8, what are the outcomes there? Is that the right number? I just don't go to 8 in my mind automatically as the solution.
Has Ohio State passed the eye test?
I don't watch them much. So I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm immersed in what happens here. That's why I'm not on the selection committee.
Explain to me, Florida loses at home to a subpar LSU team and only drops 1 spot.
Well, subpar to last year, but LSU's been in close games, and we play games because you don't know what happens.
But they've been embarrassed a couple of times, though, Greg. They've been embarrassed this year.
Well, Alabama's pretty good, so you're going to have to make a list of people that have lined up against Alabama and played well. And you know what, Dan? Part of the challenge this year is the mental challenge. Beyond the physical challenge of playing football, the unknowns, the COVID testing and the results, opt-outs, who's left. And what I've watched in a number of situations, when teams get down to about 55 players, they've started to play some of their best football. So that was an upset, but let's be clear. That's why we play football games. It's competition. You never know what happens in a competitive environment. And, last week, some people were probably uncomfortable when I observed, we made a commitment to try to play every game. The COVID circumstances will dictate that. And I think that's the responsibility that needs to be shared.
Is that a WWE belt over your shoulder?
Yeah.
Greg,
the Commissioner Sankey.
Can you get that? Can you go get
that
and bring it
Nick
over?
Khan, who worked for us in CAA and now works for WWE, sent me that. It was like the biggest smile I had all fall when I opened up a package, not knowing what it was.
Can you go get that and bring it over?
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, let me go look at this. I noticed that back there. It's like Nick Khan, a famous agent. And now,
you see that? That's apparently my moniker in WWE world.
You should wear that to the national title game.
Well, we've talked about that. When it showed up, I walked around the office and carried the CFP trophy in one hand and wore the belt.
I like it. Yeah. It's like, these kids posing for the Heisman, before they get the Heisman. There's nothing wrong with that. You should.
That's right. It's a great talking point, as we found here this morning.
I know you're short on time and you got to leave us, but congratulations so far. You did a wonderful job, and you've allowed us to kind of go along with you, the ride through this process.
Yeah.
So, good luck in the SEC title game, getting that, and then whatever happens in the Final Four, Greg. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Dan. I've appreciated every conversation. Some of the questions are uncomfortable, but needed to be asked, right? And sometimes I had to say, you know what, I don't know. But problems yield to effort, and we've got a chance to crown a champion on Saturday, and we've got 3 other games scheduled too. So I think that's been a positive experience. It's been hard, but it's been a positive net.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yep.
That's,
Take care.
Greg Sankey. He's SEC Commissioner with